Welcome back, mercenaries, to another In the Black tutorial, where today we're going to be learning how to customize our spacecraft with Remco, the lead art designer for In the Black.
Senior lead tech art, the bunch, just all of it.
Well, I guess I'm ready, and if you're ready, I say let's start this adventure.
For sure, for sure.
Awesome.
Yes. So as a quick disclaimer beforehand, not all of the ships are paintable at this point, unfortunately. So we're gonna start off with just showing off the Shrike, as that's the most developed one. The other ships will be colorable soon. I do know that the Hyperion is, but it doesn't have as much content yet as the Pegasus. Roost is on my list of things to do for sure.
That would be sweet. I would love that.
Yeah. There's a lot of good space to have some fun with that, so we'll definitely do that.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm actually kind of thinking, how cool would it be, like a roost with like tiger stripes or something along that? Do you think that'll come anytime in the future?
I mean, I'll think about it. For sure.
Just thinking out loud.
Alright, so if we want to go to the customizable aspect of any ship, you have the slots at the bottom where they're placed if you buy them. Then you just click on one of the images and then you go to the edit button.
Alright.
And then you're dropped into basically the ship frame editor, as we call it internally. This is where you also can adjust your weapons and that kind of stuff. I think most of you have already tinkered around with it. A lot of this still is very much work in progress, in the sense that we want to upgrade the general user experience, make it a little bit more understandable, because there's a lot happening on screen. And there's a lot of information that you're interested in and that we want to show you, but it also has to fit in a nice little neat package of understandable matter instead of just numbers everywhere.
Ugh.
Right. So that's definitely something...
No one likes numbers.
There you go. Everyone hates math. So that's definitely something that we're going to keep on working on. At the top, you have the main controls for switching between the paint customizer, the hardpoint editor, and you have some special liveries. So if we start off with the liveries, these are set liveries that you cannot adjust. So these are kind of like special skins. For the Alienware closed beta that we did, we made two special ones, which will only be able to go in this form. And if you switch back to customize paint, it gives you a little message like, okay, this paint job is not customizable, so you have to clear it first. So if you hit the clear livery from ship button, you should get either your previously applied colors and patterns and stuff to it, or it just gives you a gray neutral ship to start off with.
All right.
So I'm just gonna hit the reset paint job button. That doesn't work. Oh, I'm sad. I'm so sad now.
Is that supposed to bring it back to like the original gray starter ship?
Yeah, I'm so sad now. Okay, well, the more you know.
Well, it'll get fixed eventually.
And there you go. So, to start off with, we have schemas, colors, metallics, patterns. Schemas determine the main bulk of where things go and what they look like. For the Shrike, we have the most ones, so you can select any of them. I usually pick the Flying V because I like that one the most. And not every schema has 3 color options. Some have either 1 or 2. As an example, the default plus only has 2, so you only have the P for primary and the S for secondary in the color slots. And default complete has all 3 of them, except for the sensors, because those only have 2.
Sorry for interrupting. No, I'm just wondering if they're grayed out, that means you can't use them, or is that something else?
If they're not available as an option, they just won't show up. So if you click on default complete, you see the T come back up. That's for tertiary.
Oh, I guess I just realized that the coloring was the colors on my my sensors.
Yeah. That's why we opted for the option of just removing them, because the whole grayed out thing, if you're dropping colors on it, you might get confused about exactly that point, right? So you can pick one of these. If you don't have very different colors applied yet, it will not show off very good yet. So the best way to do that is to go to the color section. And you have like a little package of colors that we mostly use for testing at this point. We want to put it a little bit more into a more realistic base of colors, so it's not, you don't get your bright blue, pink super strikes flying around all over the place immediately.
They do look pretty though.
Yeah. I mean, it will definitely be an option for people. I know a lot of people like that kind of stuff as well, so we don't want to not have that as an option for people, right? But we do want to start with a little bit more subdued color set. So for now, you can pick anything you want. So to add a color to one of these slots, as I said previously, the P stands for primary, S for secondary, and T for tertiary. These are usually also laid out in the sense that primary is the biggest chunk of space on your ship. Secondary is obviously the second most, and tertiary usually is the least amount. It kind of depends on the schemas and how they are set up, but that's the general rule of thumb for everything. What I like to do is start off with a base of everything being the same color. So you can kind of have like a simple...
kind of like a blank canvas?
Yeah. Right. I prefer to have like, one major base color for everything with one highlight. That would be like a brighter orange or a brighter blue or something like that, but you can do whatever you want. It's your ship.
Excellent.
Right, so in the end, it's up to you. And it's basically as simple as just click and drag and drop it on... No, I made my ping too, because apparently I can't resist.
He does look good though.
It looks kind of cool, for sure. So you can just like click and drag, drop it on one of the slots, and it's applied. Once you have it dropped, you can then click and drag from the slot if you want to copy that color over to another one.
That's neat.
So that's a little bit quicker, so you don't have to like click and drag, click and drag, click and drag every time to go from the left to the right. So that's all the stuff that you can do with the colors. In addition, because I should not forget that, you have the extra section here.
Okay.
Where these use the colors as well. So if you want a pink emissive light, and you can adjust the brightness of it as well. So if you want a little bit more of like a subdued version, or you want everyone to know where you are at all times, you have that choice. You have black applied to it at the moment, so black doesn't, give you light. So you can drag a color on there as well, and then you can actually see the emissives on it.
So was on my Shrike right now, I have option for patterns. Is that due to me picking a different like coloration, or what is that?
So if you have a pattern applied, and not every schema
Schema.
uses patterns at this point yet. I want to make that more clear for people when they do and when they don't. But I don't have a pattern in my pattern slot yet, so that's why I don't have tiling amount or rotation amount on my screen. You do. If you click the clear button next to your pattern in the sensor, it's like the gray box to the left, then it's gone, right? So yeah, where is it? Emissive, sensor material, those are kind of like extra, I wouldn't say special, but they're not the main like fuselage of the ship, so they are kind of considered as specials, or in the extra group, if you will. So that's the main bulk of all the color application. If we switch over to metallics, these are specifically for the metallic, like bare metallic parts on your ship. The Shrike has a couple of them, mostly at the rear. There are golds, there are silvers, and some more like bright colored chrome. there's a special anodized. I think it's anodized. I always forget that. It's a difficult word. So the same principle applies. You just click and drag it on the M slots of your paint groups.
Okay.
And you can do the same thing with like, okay, I've applied it to the fuselage, and then click and drag the same thing over to the sensor, and it works. You don't have to like go over the same thing every time. So that's basically metals. I kind of want to make that a little bit more involved, but for the time being, that's all the options we have for it for now.
Alrighty.
So the next part would be patterns, and you can basically change the look of your schema a lot with these if you apply them in specific ways. So same principle applies. You click and drag it over one of the pattern slots. So I'm going to drag it over the pattern slot in the fuselage, and then you can see it applied. And then you can see the tiling amount and rotation amount gets applied back to you.
And then you can go back to colors if you want, and you can change that, correct?
Yes, it has its own color slot. So it's also designated with a P at this point. We might change that, but as long as it's in the same line, it should be clear at this point. So a thing you can do, which I like, is if I do it correctly. All right, we changed that a little bit. That's fine. If you give it the same color as either your primary or secondary, depending on the schema you use, you can kind of use it a little bit as a way to cut parts out of certain aspects of it. So you can kind of see that like the grays of my primary color now kind of starts to bleed through in this pink section.
Okay.
So it kind of meshes and blends things together a little bit more interestingly. And yeah, then, tiling amount and rotation amount, that's up to your own discretion how you want to apply it.
How you want to make it look.
Exactly.
Very nice.
If you want, we got our little panther one, don't we? Yeah.
Mine's currently looking like a scaly turtle that's pink.
It's a lizard, Harry.
Honestly, it's looking like a really cool iguana.
There you go. So yeah, that's the pattern section. There's also a pattern section on the sensor, which, works exactly the same way. It's only on the outer edge on the Shrike in this case.
Let's see here.
So how you apply that, that's, similarly up to you.
Yeah.
And that's mostly it in terms of how you operate it. For the people that don't know, camera controls is all right mouse button. If you just click and hold it and move your mouse, you rotate your camera. Probably should have started with this, but hey, here we are.
Well, you can look all over the place now.
Scroll wheel is zoom in, zoom out. We're definitely gonna refine this a little bit more. Some people wanted to be able to like zoom in a lot more, which I totally agree with. But it's definitely on the list of things to adjust. So, say we're happy with our changes. At the bottom, you have your Save Paint Job preset. Basically, you give it a name, preferably a unique one. If you don't give it a unique one, it will overwrite whatever you had. So be aware of that. So I'm just gonna call this Pink Lady, because why not?
I named mine Iguana, so it's all good.
There you go. And then you hit Save Paint Job, and it will save a new skin, and it should show up in the Load tab.
Let's see here. Load. Oh, there it is. Very cool.
There it is. So I have a few extra that I've already made. So as soon as you load it, it applies all these settings to the paint group section.
Okay.
So you can immediately start adjusting it if you want to add a little bit more tiling or something like that. Just change it, hit the Save Paint Job button, and it overrides the previous version because the name is exactly the same at that point.
Awesome.
And that's the SPC.
Is that the gist of it?
That's definitely the gist of it.
Cool.
I can quickly show you if I can buy a Hyperion. Oops.
Yeah, get that top tier one.
I got all the money. So I have
Gotta
to zoom
count,
out a
though.
little bit.
I'm sitting here at 100,000. You're sitting at that 200 million
Shh, I got
range.
secret codes. So, here's one of the camera problems that we're trying to solve, so I apologize for it. So, the Hyperion, as an example, has 3 sections, or 2 sections to its fuselage and a pods section, which is
Okay.
these things at the side. So, different ships will have different options in its paint groups. As you can see, it doesn't have an extra for emissives and that kind of stuff in this case, so it changes per ship essentially. The Rus will have different options as well. We definitely try to make it similar enough, but we also want to give, every ship has its own little quirk.
Yeah.
So that'll be
Outside of how they kill each other.
yeah, outside of what it can have on it, etc., etc. So yeah, and that's the
right.
SPC.
Well, hey, there we go.
Show us all your cool skins that you've made. If you have questions, or you want to add, or you want us to add specific features, don't hesitate to let us know in the Discord channel.
Take that into consideration. Yeah, you can put those in the Discord channel, right? There's a screenshots area, yeah?
Yeah, there's a screenshots area in the Discord there. We want to see all your pretty ships.
Spaceships and whatnot, so. Alright, well, thanks everyone for watching. This was a very informative and I think fun experience. Again, Remco, what are you in the Impeller Studios team?
Main artist, I would deem at this point.
Alrighty, mercenaries, and that I think is all we have for today. If you want to join the Discord, we have a link down below. It'll lead you to the in the Black Community Discord, where there's a lot of other like-minded people who want to support the Impeller Studios and the Black Project. You can chat with people, you can talk about the physics, you can chat with developers from time to time, and it's an all-around good place. So we hope to see you there.
All right, see you guys.
Have a good day, mercenaries. Bye-bye.